Two, one.
Oh, hey! And we're back. Welcome back to yet another episode of Singular, where we, of course, discuss all the things relevant to your life at the Grammys. Rocking it in 1981 with Best New Artist, and joining you on this very freaky Halloween is the spectacular and magnificent Reverend Dr. Vincent Stevens.
Welcome, podcast singular viewers.
And am I pointing in the right direction? And joining you as usual, kicking it in his best 1980s garb, the Monsignor Eric Nelson. Man, fumbled that one.
Fine. Fine. Do I look like Eddie Rabbit? I'm going for I Love a Rainy Night.
I
You
love
know
a
it.
rainy
Listen,
night.
it's
Uh-oh.
pouring down.
1981
It's pouring down.
is pouring down cats and dogs.
And I am Susan Lombardi Verticelli.
You got that one right.
You got that one right. I love
Okay.
your ears
Right.
today. I
Oh,
love your ears.
I'm all ears because I'm always listening.
Mhm.
You're an active listener.
I am
And
an
you have
actor.
active listening skills.
Yes, and
Yes, and.
Monsignor Nelson, take it away.
Excellent. Yeah, so 1981, there was no internet yet. We weren't using smartphones. We cared about the workday that went from 9 to 5. We then shut down our laptops. We didn't shut down our laptops. We just left the office.
We didn't
Maybe
have
there
a
were a bunch.
laptop.
TRS 80 or Commodore 64. That's what we were
That's right.
turning off
We were
or
frying up
unplugging.
We were unplugging, we were frying up the bacon, sizzling it in a pan, and listening to these Best New Artist nominees from that year. Adam Ant and his Goody Two Shoes was the top alphabetical person on that list, followed by someone who knew a lot about what happens between 9 to 5 and what happens after 9 to 5. Sheena Easton was a second nominee. Next up, recent inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Go-Go's, the first all female band to top the Billboard 200 album charts, and I think the only ones.
Thank you, patriarchy.
Thank you, patriarchy. Smooth-voiced James Ingram to be our fourth nominee, and then Luther. If we were to, that great balladeer, R&B singer and duetter, Luther Vandross is our fifth nominee. So as we dig into these and hear which one should have walked away with the Best New Artist gramophone, Susan, you said you're all ears. Let's start with how you listen to these folks and who resonated.
Um, Thank you very much, Monsignor. I think the most interesting thing about this category, which is different than any other episode that we've done, is we actually have the benefit of time. So if we were listening to these in 19,
On your side.
it's on my side, time after time. If we were listening to these in 1981, we might have a very different perspective about who the best new artist was. But here in 2025, we have the ability to look at the discography, and really see the progression of each artist. So that which we might have picked in 1981 could be very different than what we're picking today. Um, so I just think that's very interesting to listen to what was deemed the best new artist, and
Mhm.
to actually now be able to see what happened in their lives.
What happened now?
Yeah. Um, do I reveal my choice now?
You reveal your choice now. I mean, you could give context. Like, who'd you
I
kick
I,
out?
I can. Well, I won't, because I'm in future episodes. I'm going to kick people out.
You're gonna
So
kick people out,
I
vote them
won't.
off the island.
I'll save that for later. But I will say that I was hyper aware of what might stand the test of time. And I kind of felt like forced a little bit. And also, as I revealed earlier, I don't actually know who won this category. Sometimes I like to surprise myself. So I think with all my heart and all my gut, and all my desire to protect the integrity of this person's incredible catalog.
There's a build up to this,
I
I
Susie.
mean, are
know.
you giving
I'm
me a
excited.
wedding
Where are we
proposal?
going?
I know. And I think that again, 1981, I might have picked very differently.
Hmm.
We all
But
made different choices
we
in
all
1981.
choices in 1981. Thanks, patriarchy. My pick is Luther Vandross. I'm not going to
Hmm.
diss Luther forever for always. R.I.P. Luther.
Here and now.
Here and
You're gonna
now.
stop to love with him. All of that. Indeed. Yeah, it's interesting, Susie. I mean, that career of his, I'm gonna pick the baton up or the microphone and go next, if that's all right. Yeah, like it is so interesting getting to reflect back on like actually all of these folks had careers beyond 1981, and some of them went the distance
Hmm.
and had lots going on. And I think to your point, different than what we would have expected, perhaps, right out of that. Like I was struck by how, yeah, Belinda Carlisle and the Go-Go's still tour. Sheena Easton still tours. Luther is no longer with us, but had a career that went on for,
Boring in heaven and in your hearts.
yeah, exactly. James Ingram, like the duets and continued discography that he had. I think probably out of the group here, Adam Ant probably had the least long-term trajectory. But like Goody Two Shoes is such a fun song. Like, so anyway, a lot of variety in this category, a lot of like look ahead to, they often talk about Best New Artist has a curse that the people who win this award don't go on. But a lot of this category went on, which was really exciting to hear. I do know who won this category, and I won't reveal it because we aren't there yet. But I will say a couple of things. One is, and I sort of queued it up. Only one of this group, I believe, made it to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best here. But I do think for this moment in time, I'm going to play my cards or reveal my cards. I'm picking the Go-Go's. They are a band who wrote all their own music. They had this milestone of being the first all-female band to top the Billboard Top 200 album chart. These songs on Beauty and the Beat, their debut album, are super fun and have lots of variety to it. We Got the Beat, Our Lips Are Sealed, Lust to Love. Great, great songs that are in that. That's not to say there aren't other great folks in here. I actually was so taken by James Ingram's voice in these debut songs that I think were produced with Quincy Jones. Were they on a Quincy Jones album? So they weren't, that's actually sort of like his trajectory was more of like a singles person than having like his whole album. And that's why I didn't go with James Ingram. But he sounds so good on these songs, and those songs stand the test of time. I will
Just
say
one.
what?
Just one.
Just just one. Oh, it's like it just makes your heart break and sort hearing him do that. So I will say that. And then you do have to give credit to someone who a couple years from now will somehow be able to sing Sugar Walls with such serious conviction that is like that's hard to pull off without falling in like that song. Let's give it up for the Filthy 15 and pushing boundaries. But to pull that song off with conviction is just fascinating to me. And that became a single and then became like a top 10 single is interesting. But Go-Go's, Go-Go's, I'm giving it to the Go-Go's. Their lips shouldn't be sealed. They should got up on stage and got to speak as they won this award, which maybe they did. So Vincent Stevens, who should have walked away with this trophy for you?
Thank you, Monsignor. Um, so I appreciated the variety of this category as well. I think it speaks to what was happening in 1981. So Adam Ant represents kind of power pop and the new romantics. The Go-Go's are post-punk. They're kind of, I don't know if I call them new wave, but they're kind of that post-punk new wave LA energy. Sheena Easton actually won an American Idol style show in the UK. And that's what launched her career. And, from the outset, she's doing pop ballads, she's doing mid-tempo songs. She did the James Bond theme song for Your Eyes Only. So she was a hot new property, or new artist. James Ingram had been a songwriter and a background singer before Quincy Jones discovered him, and he recorded 100 Ways, and Just Once for the album The Dude, which was a Quincy Jones sort of production with different artists. And of course, Luther Vandross had been like the MVP background singer in New York for a decade. So he sort of came into his own with his first album, Never Too Much. Um, I would say of these artists,
Never too much.
Never Too Much, which I would say I think Never Too Much is one of those songs that it so defines an era, but it draws on the best of funk and disco and R&B and crooning, and it just all comes together really beautifully. So, yeah, but I think that all of these artists had some hits that define the era. So I would say of these artists, Adam Ant, I think, had the, other than Goody Two Shoes, he really is not a big artist in the United States. Like, I think in Britain, he continued to have a successful career, but here, he kind of flamed out. Like, every 80s collection has, 8675309, Come On Eileen, and they, of course, have to have Goody Two Shoes. So I think for most Americans, he's a one hit wonder, even though I think in the UK, he continued to have hits. Um, in terms of the remaining artists, I think the Go-Go's, were a hit out of the box. As you mentioned, like, Our Lips Are Sealed and We Got the Beat are really fun, really energetic songs. I think that they have two albums before they kind of.
They had three, but their second album, Vacation, came on the quick heels of Beauty and the Beat. So
Okay.
kind of like Sheena Easton, like her this year that she's nominated for has both her debut album plus the For
Mhm.
Your Eyes Only song, plus I think even peeks into her second album. There's like a lot released in that period of time. And within a 12-month period that I think Beauty and the Beat hits, the album Vacation is released and Vacation goes top 10 as
Mhm.
well. And then they have a little bit of a pause before their third album comes
Okay.
out. But it is like shoehorned in a 12-month period is two albums that release a handful of singles on
Okay.
them.
Helpful, very helpful. And then, James Ingram, as you mentioned, right? He sort of listed, oh, like if you get a Quincy Jones compilation, it will have James Ingram, but it will say Quincy Jones featuring James Ingram, which I think that's weird. I'm like, it's James Ingram singing. Give me a break.
Right.
But obviously, like he was nominated in the pop male category and the male R&B vocal category, which he won. So,
He should have won. That he's so good.
I mean,
He
he
is.
just made an immediate splash. But my top pick is Luther Vandross. Even if Luther Vandross didn't go on to have the career he had, Never Too Much is one of the few songs that I would say is absolutely perfect. There's not a rhythm, a beat, a melodic fragment, a lyric I would change. I would also say the other really famous song from his debut album is his cover of A House Is Not a Home, which is a Burt Bacharach, Hal David song from the 60s. What a lot of people don't realize is that that song was never released as a single, but a lot of
Yeah,
radio.
like I think like everybody knows that song. His version of that song is so ubiquitous and famous.
Exactly. Like Quiet Storm stations would just play it as an album track. It's like 7 minutes. But I would say that is as perfect a performance of a ballad as you were ever going to get. Like he makes it into like an aria. Like I have a blog called riffsbeatsandcodas.com.
What?
Not saying people have to go to it, but I
Sounds
did
like you're saying people have to go to
oh,
it.
whatever, fine, check it out. But in 2023, I wrote about the like 100 best R&B ballads, and A House Is Not a Home is on it. And I talk about what he does in the song that makes it so special. So I would go for Luther, but I would say like I would say all of these acts, except I would say Adamant, I think would have been viable in many ways. So yeah, so that's my thought about that. So.
All right.
Before we do the reveal, is there anything we want to process together?
I do. It's interesting when you think about I think both Sheena and James, and I could be wrong on this because maybe he did write those songs, but they both seem in this category like voices to other people's material. Like I
Mm,
don't think Sheena Easton wrote those songs. And I want to make sure for our audience to hear, I don't need someone to write a song to be considered a legitimate artist.
of
So I
course.
just say that out loud. But when you think about it's interesting in this kind of category or even a group category that isn't just a specific vocal category. I
Mm,
do expand that to what are the other things that are brought to the table in this because it's best new artist, not best new vocalist, and it's
mhm,
not best new songwriter, and it's not just best new album. So I
mhm,
do that that does factor into me the other boxes you check as a performer in here. That doesn't make their ability to perform any less spectacular, but
mhm.
there may be less hyphenates in some of these, and that factored into my thought process as well. And
That's-
asterisk, everyone do yourself a favor and watch the 1982 Oscar performance of Sheena Easton singing For Your Eyes Only from the James Bond movie of the same name. It is a gift that keeps on giving. I won't say any more to that, but I highly recommend people do that.
Um, Regarding that video, the thing I found most interesting, two things. Number one, my favorite Bond villain, Jaws, is featured in that production, and he does very little but stand there, which I think is kind of what he did throughout a lot of the Bond films as well. Um, and I just forgot my second point. It'll come back to me.
It's all coming back to you. It's all coming back to you now.
Okay.
But Vincent, jump in.
Why don't we reveal the winner and then we return to our dear friend Susan. Maybe that thought will maybe this music will evoke, right? That sound. Okay.
Oh, I remember it. I remember it.
All right. Well, too late. All right. No, we'll come back in a sec. Okay.
Who
So
won?
the winner is. That's right. Sheena Easton
Sheena Easton.
for the win. For the win.
Love you, Sheena. No disrespect.
He comes home and finds me waiting for him. She
Um,
came to the Grammys and found herself waiting and winning a Best New Artist Grammy.
Indeed.
this
Indeed.
was my second thought about that video.
Okay.
Is that um, the villain that was holding the cat? And I was like, how do we have an Austin Powers reference this early on? And then I was like, oh my goodness, Austin Powers, right? Like that has taken over and become much more
Mm,
ubiquitous. And we have that, like, that was the first trigger of that villain for me. Uh,
Yes, me too.
Not, oh, it's actually they're playing, a homage to the Bond villains in the
yeah, because
Austin Powers home.
and there has that villain with the cat hasn't shown up again in a Bond movie in decades. I don't think.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
agreed. Agreed.
Right,
So,
right.
Susan, I was going to ask, so when our video goes live, will you include a link to that Oscars video so our viewers can check it
Oh,
out?
I would love to do that. In fact, I actually like there's nothing more that I would love is to do that.
I love that for us.
I love that.
And you're also welcome to put a link in for my blog if you want to.
I mean,
I love that
hashtag
this
side
podcast has
hustle.
turned into the selfless promotion of other
Listen,
people's work.
I don't make any money off of it, viewers. It is just editorial.
Make a note.
All right. So, okay, so I'm going to reflect on this really quickly. So, as Eric mentioned, Sheena Easton had a bunch of hits. And I think, Sheena Easton fits a familiar blueprint of a kind of ingenue. So I do think that she is somebody who had a lot of momentum in 1980, 1981. So no, I don't think anybody thinks Sheena Easton is a better singer than Luther Vandross or James Ingram necessarily, but I think it's a sound choice. Like I don't think it was an embarrassing choice. And part of the thing about Sheena Easton that's very impressive is that if you look at her discography over the decade of the 80s, I would say almost every year she was showing up somewhere. So as Eric alluded to, she's kind of like I would say she's kind of a proto Kelly Clarkson, or maybe Kelly Clarkson is sort of a post Sheena Easton, but she's one of those people. I think she's a good singer. But she's very versatile. So she had We Got Tonight with Kenny Rogers, which was sort of a country hit and an adult contemporary hit. She had big pop hits like Strut. She also did kind of more racy stuff like as you mentioned, Sugar Walls. Then she also did You Got the Look, and both of those songs are Prince songs. And then kind of her biggest hit at the end of the decade was A Lover in Me, which was a number two pop hit that was written and produced by Babyface, L.A. Reid, Daryl Simmons. So she actually sort of traversed the territory of doing a little country, a little dance pop, some New Jack Swing. She won a Grammy for a duet with Luis Miguel in the mid 80s for singing some track, and she's not a native Spanish speaker. So I'm like, she was kind of feeling herself and doing all kinds of things. So I will say during the 80s, she was very successful. I think in the early 90s, things started to fade, but I think being popular for about a decade is still pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Well, and I do, you so kindly queued up for us, Vincent, as prep work for this episode to listen to a couple of songs from each of these artists. And what's interesting to me is the progression of confidence in her voice from Morning Train 9 to 5, which was, I think, of like the songs she got from winning that show.
Mm,
Like they had her do that song to then the For Your Eyes Only theme, which has there's more money in the production of that song than there is on Morning Train 9 to 5. And she sounds fine in Morning Train 9 to 5. She hits all the notes, but there's more nuance and character in For Your Eyes Only. So in such a short time, she really shows this progression from a contest winner vocalist to a professional pop vocalist. And I think it speaks a lot about how she was able to grow and uh, transform during that time.
that's
That
great.
being said, Luther Vandross and James Ingram are amazing singers. I want to underscore that just one more time.
Point of clarification. Is Sugar Walls about Sheena Easton discovering a witch's candy coated hut in the middle of a forest
Yes,
and her living there?
yes.
Okay.
I think it's like a Hansel and Gretel
That's what I thought.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
that's the inspiration.
Cool. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's where all the good children go. I mean,
Or come out of.
or maybe. I mean, you come and you go in every situation.
Well,
So I was just going to say one more thing, before we conclude, is that as I mentioned, Sheena Easton won a second Grammy for her duet with Luis Miguel. James Ingram won a Grammy this year for 100 Ways, and then he won a Grammy a few years later for Yamo Be There with the perennial favorite duet partner Michael McDonald.
So good.
And Luther Vandross did not win a Grammy Award until 1990 when he won for Here and Now. So he had a whole run of nominations before he finally won. And then after that, he won for The Power of Love. He won for Your Secret Love. He won a bunch for his last album, Dance with My Father. It just goes to show that people eventually get their flowers. So I will say this is a group of multi Grammy winners. So I think they did a
Totally.
good job.
And Belinda Carlisle shows back up again at the Grammys as a solo artist for Heaven is a Place on Earth.
That's right.
So
He's nominated in 87. That will be a good year. We should do that as a category because it's tight. She's competing with Barbra Streisand, Carly Simon, Whitney Houston, and Suzanne Vega. Uh-oh.
and it's a good year.
group.
It
What a
is
Perhaps
a
group.
good.
another time.
Well, speaking of great groups, from all of us here at Singular, we want to remind you to click like and subscribe down below. Don't forget to ring that bell to get all your notifications. And we have shared this time with you discussing the 1981 Best New Artist. And from Monsignor Nelson, the Reverend Dr. Vincent Stevens, it's been a pleasure spending this time with you. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
Ooh.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Ooh.